You're listening to The State of Play, a quick-fire roundup of all things Irish football and beyond. Coming up on this episode, John O'Shea is confirmed as interim manager for March. However, the FAI will announce the permanent new boss in April as we discuss who could be next in the hot seat on The State of Play. David Dunn here, joined by Martin Prendergast. As always, if you like what you hear, you love what you see, hit that subscribe button, scan that QR code, head over to a Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Right. Martin, let's get into it. Big news today on the 28th of February 2024. The FAI have announced that John O'Shea will be interim coach for March. This is their press release. John O'Shea will lead the men's seniors national team on an interim basis for two friendly international matches against Belgium and Switzerland in March. O'Shea will be supported during the international window by Premier League club Crystal Palace's Paddy McCarthy as assistant coach. The FAI can also confirm that an announcement for the permanent head coach of the men's national team will be made in early April. John O'Shea said on the matter, "I'm delighted to return to the senior men's coaching staff as interim head coach for the two international friendlies against Belgium and Switzerland. It will be an incredible honour to lead the side into the March international window. As everyone will know, I've always had an immense pride representing my country, whether that be during my playing career or very recently as part of the coaching staff of the men's senior team and the under-21s. It's great that Paddy has agreed to come on board for the two matches, and work will begin straight away to prepare for two top-quality fixtures against great opposition in Belgium and Switzerland in front of our fantastic home support. I've got great belief in the group of players to win football matches and looking forward to some positive results." Martin, on the last episode, on actually the Lance and Roar Live, we did call it, didn't we? We said it would be an interim manager for March, and we also actually said we reckon it'd be John O'Shea.
Yep, self-praise and all that. It's brilliant to be on, and
hold on, wait for it. There you are.
Look, it's progress, isn't it? I'm actually really happy with this appointment. It is something I've kind of long advocated. I do want to see John O'Shea involved in the senior men's team. I think he was tarred very unfairly under the Stephen Kenny tenure, and I've done a little bit of research into it. I mean, Kenny had 40 games in charge. John O'Shea was only involved for the last 10. He obviously, remember, he did replace John Eustace in early 2023. So, come up from the under-21. I think he's very much an FAI man. I'm hoping that he won't be the Noel King, Don Gibbons of Irish football. I think he's going to bring a lot more to it now. He's gone through the pro license with the FAI. Very much someone who's on board, I think, with what they are trying to do in Irish football. And, I've always said it as well, quite vocally on the podcast. He can put his medals on on the table. He can show that he's 118 caps for Ireland, been at, Euros and things like that, been a captain at Euros. He can lead us, I think, as a manager as well, and I think he'll do a good job in the March games.
Yeah, I think the FAI obviously wanted him part as the ticker. We'll get more onto that later on, but they've spoken glowingly about John O'Shea as a coach, so he's definitely very much part of the FAI coaching ticket. He's part of the establishment there, isn't he? We asked a question on Facebook earlier on the Lance and Road page as we announced it. Your thoughts, and originally it was quite negative, really. It was just stuff like, what are you guys doing? I mean, is this it? Is this a joke? But then as the comments ramped up, it got a bit more positive. Stuff like Michael began, best of luck, John O'Shea. There's one there. Are they for real? That's one of the comments made. Mir Collins, congratulations, John. You will do Ireland proud as always. Owen Sullivan, good luck to John. Great servant as footballer to Ireland. I hope he can take this team forward and give us something to get excited about. Best luck to Big John and the staff. Another one says, it can't get any worse, I suppose. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. I think most people are kind of happy about this, Martin, isn't it? I think, we'd rather them take their time, the FAI, with this, wouldn't we? Now, I know they've been giving it the big one. We're going to have one. I think what's annoyed a lot of people is that the FAI, I mean, I understand why they're being opaque with this, why they put the wall up, because obviously previous appointments, there's been leaks everywhere, and they kind of allowed us to sort of work ourselves up, run around like chicken little. But they've kind of sat back and watched. But I think what's annoyed people is that we were going to have a manager in place for February 8th for the Nations League draw, and then it was I should have him in charge. There's going to be an imminent decision. God, I can't speak tonight. I couldn't speak on Sunday either. An imminent decision, and now it's like no, it's an interim manager. I think the naysayers are going to look at that and think, do you guys actually know what you're doing or what? I personally believe that they're right to take their time, Martin. They're right to if they haven't got the right person locked in, or there's still a hope they can get the person that they want, i.e. Lee Carsley, take your time. It's not the end of the world if we have an interim manager in charge of March. They're just friendlies. Yeah, lovely. We'd like to have the new man, the new permanent person, to have more time to work with, but it's not the end of the world if we have an interim boss for March.
Yeah, I mean, they're sticking to their pathway plan. This is the new FAI that Mark Cannam's kind of promised us and is putting in place. And, he's delivered that presentation to stakeholders in Irish football, saying what way they want the kind of coaching development to come through. John O'Shea has been part of that. So I think that it's them being true to what they're trying to achieve long term. This is a long term kind of view on this. They're not rushing him and just going, let's get Big Sam, let's get Steve Bruce. We're desperate. We need a name. We need to even, bring Roy Keane in and we'll sell those as season tickets. This is a long-term plan for it. I actually admire that kind of stance in a sense. It is frustrating as fans that, they've missed deadlines and promises. But let's be realistic. At the end of it, we've still got the FAI that are being questioned by the Oireachtas. There's a lot of uncertainty with some of the people involved in the FAI. I mean, I read the article today. I thought it was very good. Dan McDonald's, very good article there. I didn't know. Yeah, friend of the pod, friend of you, Dave. The lanyard competition at the Aviva is ramping up as well. I can't wait to see the two of you go head to head again in March. Never mind about post-match videos. Who's doing those? But I didn't realise that one of the communications executives or directors, Louise Cassidy's, moved on already from the FAI. So there's a lot of changes in the background there, and they're under a lot of scrutiny, which is right. They've said they need more money, which we know they do. They've got to restore the faith of the public, and I think if they'd rushed in with a stupid appointment, in my view, where they appointed, like as I said, Big Sam or someone who's just not in line with the new FAI they're trying to promote, it would have undermined them even further. So I'm really happy John O'Shea's involved, to be honest. I'll express my bias and everything. Like big Man United fan, one of my favourite players at Man United because he was Irish, obviously.
Well, there he is.
And I think I think the key thing with John O'Shea is I think he's just a gentleman. And I know that we used to say Stephen Kenny's such a nice guy and stuff, but John O'Shea is quite admired. I think he's well connected with Man United. No, but I think if he's going,
calm it down.
But if he's going to,
someone's after lanyard themselves, are they?
No, it strikes me as like parallels with previous appointments where like for example, like I have been rereading the team that Jack built, right? And I'm just finding it fascinating the parallels with it. And it was like when Owen Hand used to go over and ask for players, and people didn't know who Owen Hand was, and he was going to World Cups and having to go in the back door via the England manager Ron Greenwood giving him tickets. John O'Shea is well known and established, right? So if he goes to Premier League managers wanting players to be released or Championship, he's been there, done it. He's well respected. I think he opens doors a little bit, and he might not have the credibility as a coach yet and what he's achieved coaching wise, but I think he's just a decent guy, and everyone thinks he played at the top level and he's done well for Ireland. I think that's a key thing to consider there.
That's a fair point, actually. That is a fair point because he's a household name in the Premier League. He's played that many
without the contrariness. He is.
Yeah,
he's Damien Duff and Roy Keane without the contrariness.
Yeah.
So people are saying he's too nice now.
And the intensity.
Too nice. He's not going to be able to do it.
We thought Damien Duff was really nice. He's the world's most intense man. That's one thing though that did strike me. I had people coming up to me today at work. No affiliation to Ireland whatsoever. Even my future brother-in-law texted me, who's English and he's a West Ham, bless him. What you reckon of John O'Shea? People coming up to me, oh, John O'Shea. I actually even had my boss ring me. He's a Liverpool fan as well. And he's no affiliation to Ireland. And he was like, what you reckon about John O'Shea? So it's already got people over here, talking to my little community as well. So they're all like, "Oh, John O'Shea, wow." Obviously we need to see what he could do. I can see you're after a pair of boots off him already, Martin. Are you?
I have a pair of John O'Shea boots already.
I
But
bet you do.
one thing I would say as well, if you were to, I know it's people probably don't think this is important as I'm kind of making it in a sense, but if you turn around and you said to people, like you said, who don't know Irish football, and you said two names and which people, what have they done? Who are these two people? And you said Stephen Kenny, and I'm not being disparaging to Stephen Kenny, but you said Stephen Kenny and John O'Shea. People will be able to tell you more about John O'Shea.
Yeah.
Than
I mean,
they
it was
would
same with
Stephen
Brian
Kenny.
Kerr as well, wasn't it? No one
Exactly,
knew who he was.
So I think they've got it right in this interim appointment.
Yeah.
And I don't think, as I said, the 10 games that he was involved with, he's necessarily tarred from that. But obviously the proof is going to be when we come to the 23rd of March and see what earlier than that, because he's going to be picking a squad and there'll be speculation. And
do you think?
I think it's going to be very, very interesting how he approaches the role.
Do you think it'll be enough to draw the names? Look, there's obviously a lot of anger at the FAI at the moment. I mean, when is there not? You and I think they've handled this particular part of, the FAI quite well. I think they have, if they get the man, to get somebody who's good in the end, i.e. Carsley or whatever. But when you have stuff like this that's come out, the redacted email, this kind of nonsense, that ain't going away for a while. There's a lot of anger at the FEI, the way things are going on, the way they've ballsed up that, trying to go to the government to get €500 million towards 863 million that's required to bring football up to scratch, etc., etc. Do you think that John O'Shea will bring the goodwill back, that he'll put bums on seats, basically?
I think he will, because it's going to be exciting now to build up to those games. It's going to be something that people are going to be looking at. They're going to see him pick a squad. Who's he going to pick as the goalkeeper is going to be speculated now, because you've got Kelleher in fine form and Bazunu, of course.
Bazunu dropped today for Southampton, just saying.
Was he? Oh, in the cup?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a cup though, wasn't it?
No, doesn't matter. Kelleher played 1-3-0, just saying.
Yeah. But
I'm just that's what I heard he was dropped, just saying.
Okay. But I know I just think it's going to be that it's kind of ramping up now as well. I'll name drop a few things. John O'Shea is a big fan of Cheltenham Festival, which is starting in a couple of weeks. So he'll be picking a squad that week now. I'm sure he's quietly kind of
a bit disappointed. Are you going to Cheltenham? Are you?
Yeah.
John, do you remember me, John? I'd be like, oh, not him again. Like David Connolly, John, give us a pair of boots, John. Give us a tip.
Look, I'm not going to lie. There's been a bit of contact today, Dave. I'm going to give you an exclusive now, but it's all good.
Go on.
I just wished him well, and congratulated him on getting the role. I think he'll take the opportunity. To be honest,
I'll joking aside, Martin has actually texted John O'Shea.
And I got a response, didn't I?
And he did actually get a response. And all joking,
it's stuff I've been doing with him. He's promised me a long time that if I stop harassing, he's promised to come to a Risk London event. So that's something that we'll.
If you stop showing up inside his house.
Yeah. But I genuinely wish him all the best, because he's always been absolutely fantastic with fans and supporters and stuff, and I think he's always appreciated as a player, the support that Irish fans have given him. So I just think he's going to get a lot of goodwill, isn't he, with this? If it had been right, if it had been like Noel King getting the job, right? I know he wasn't even credible, but if he had, it would have been very negative, wouldn't it? I think this is a bit of goodwill. Now I know there's a little bit of negativity still with, he was one of the ones who was under Kenny and stuff. I genuinely don't think he had much involvement, in a sense of coming in for 10 games. You have the first 2 games, then you are given a specific role as an assistant coach to either focus on set pieces, which I genuinely think he did.
Right.
And I used to watch, the warm up and stuff, and quite fascinated by who was leading that and what he was doing. That was quite good.
But he has had a very checkered. Let's cut through the nonsense here now. Yeah. That's what we do here, right? Let's have a little look at his. We try to anyway. In between the jocularity, let's have a look at his managerial career. Okay, so he was 2 years at Reading as a coach, and I think they're in League One at the moment. And then he went to our Republic of Ireland under 21, so Jim Crawford. Then he was at Stoke City as a coach for a year. That didn't last. Then he was Republic of Ireland assistant last year for a few months. That obviously didn't last. And then he was at Birmingham City, and he was with Wayne Rooney for 12 games, 18 games, if that, not even that. That was a complete disaster. Now it must be said that Tony Mowbray did ask him to stay, and Tony Mowbray says, I asked him to stay, but basically he says, no, like I've got, my sights set on being a manager myself, which I think kind of got us, that's what sort of got us talking a while ago. That kind of went under the radar, but he did say that Tony Mowbray. That's why we were thinking, well, there's an interim manager, and there was obviously going to be an interim manager. It was going to be him. But let's be honest, Martin, he doesn't have the best coaching not credentials, but the best coaching track record where he's been at. So we have to be fair there now. We have to.
I do get that point, right? But I think though the remit as a coach is so difficult. With it falls on the manager. It falls on results ultimately.
Yeah.
So you could be the best coach, and yet if you can't implement things, it's not necessarily your fault. If the manager he makes the ultimate decision, and you'll rate certain players rather than the manager will. But the manager's under pressure to get results. I think the Rooney thing was farcical at Birmingham. But fair play, he went with his mate there. But that there's loads of factors to that, and I suppose there are kind of lots of excuses as well. Reading was the thing that evolved the situation there from him being a player there first, and then having his coaching experience. But let's be under no illusions here. I would guess that he's been doing some work at Man United in his time at certain levels. When people are doing their coaching badges, they often go in, we know, for example, Ireland, Sean St. Ledger, John Walters, Glenn Whelan have all been working underage teams there and getting experience doing that. You can't read. I mean, even I think Gerrard was doing it quite recently. I think actually with Klopp at some stage.
He was like under 20 coach, I think, or something.
Yeah, you get involved. Like you get involved and you get asked to kind of run sessions.
Yeah,
and so he will be very experienced at that, and he has got the pro license and things, which is a hell of a thing to kind of do and achieve.
I think this will be.
It's not a bad thing. He's got to have a go at it. It's a little bit of like a Stan kind of thing.
Oh,
in a
Jesus,
sense,
don't.
he's just
Come on, Martin, don't.
No, but he's just young, isn't
Give
he?
him a chance, will you?
I mean, he's 42, isn't he?
He is.
He's 42 years old.
Yes, he is 32. 42. He'll be 43 in April. Now, look, I hear what you're saying. I mean, this is now the big chance for him, isn't it? This is what you like as a manager, even though. But let's not get carried away. It's only 2 games, but the proof will be in March. Speaking of which, I'm going to ask the question: is this an audition for John O'Shea for the job, or is Lee Carsley still the man? And just keep in mind that Lee Carsley, right, will take charge of the English under-21s on the 22nd and 26th of March. Their next game after that won't be until the 6th of September, and that's in Northern Ireland. So they have all this time. Is that a way for the FAI to continue negotiations with Carsley, or to allow him to leave his job at the FA on good terms in case this doesn't go quite well? Or are they actually going to say, well, you know what, John, if you impress in 2 matches, could be yours?
I think it's both. The answer to that is yes. I think in both situations, weirdly, which isn't confusing.
Politician.
The FAI. No, I think it's definitely an audition. I think O'Shea, will fancy the job. I think having worked with under 21s, that quite a few years ago as well. Now they're coming through. He'll have experience with them. The target from the FAI isn't necessarily the next tournament to qualify for. It is probably 2028. It's a 4-year project. He can buy himself time with saying that.
If let's say we get a win and a draw, doesn't matter who against, because they're 2 decent oppositions, or to get 2 wins, but even a win and a draw, you could see the Irish fans getting hysterical, because we have a habit of doing that, don't we? We go, oh my God, given the man, does that make the FAI's job easier? But also, what happens if we get 2 hidings?
I think if you get 2 hidings, it would depend on the manner of the
kind of hidings.
Well, yeah, if you get absolutely hammered in those 2 games, and it's
making excuses already for John O'Shea.
No, but I'm just
look at you.
Just no, I just think then it's the manner of the defeats. Like if it seems clueless and we haven't adjusted in the game, there's ways of losing, isn't there? Right. So there's ways of losing football matches. Yeah. And if you just don't shut up shop and you just take
Yeah.
your beat in that day. I don't think that will happen in these
If
two
it's a
friendlies
one,
anyway.
like if it's an unlucky
If it
1-0,
was a 1-0, was an honourable one.
yeah, people are going to go say, well, look what he's got to work with.
Yeah.
There's still a hangover from Kenny, etc. People make excuses for him, but it's like 2 absolute hidings, and he's completely clueless. That will take him out, I'd imagine, of the running for any future.
You'll
But
see though as well when he picks his squad, who comes in and makes themselves available as well. That's a key one. Yeah, I think for me, who wants to be part of the future of Irish football. Again, the Sammy Smollick's thing is going to be another kind of question probably for him.
Yeah.
And that will be interesting because really then, Sammy Smollick has been in squads. We'll have to obviously chat about this on Sunday. Probably we've got a bit more time. But if you're speculating about the squad and Sammy Smollick's, you're thinking, well, actually, look, Kenny didn't fancy him, or maybe those issues are resolved now. I think the baby's been born as well, wasn't it? So maybe that was the real reason. But I think it is an audition. I think he'll be thriving in that role. To try to impress, and how he conducts himself in the media, I think will be quite refreshing as well. But then it is a positive thing to kind of engage with, isn't it? Because it's a new start for Irish football, and in a way, it's a free swing for him because he can say, "Yeah, I'm here," but then it does momentum builds. Like you said, we will get carried away if they do very well, and you think, and all the players are talking as, "Yeah, loved it," and
then
I think the only thing is, I think what's going to be interesting next few days, Dave, is that I want to see the backroom staff. I want to see. I'm going to say
Paddy
now,
McCarthy.
I think Paddy McCarthy's in there. I think well respected, worked with Hodgson for a number of years. Good little bit of a pedigree behind him.
Dean Kiely will come in as well, won't he?
That's what I was going to say. That the Palace connection's a key one there. I think Dean Kiely would come back in. I think as well, why people were saying, oh well, John O'Shea, why did he leave then with Kenny? Because we have had all this speculation and stuff. That's just contractual. That was always going to happen when the end of the previous regime ends and goes. So I think he's obviously stepped away a little bit from football, but then went in obviously with Wayne Rooney, as you said, and now it's an opportunity for him. And I think it'll be really interesting to see as well when over the next few weeks, when the matches are covered in the Premier League, when people are asked about this, what the perception of it will be from the pundits, former players who played with him, Shay Given, mate of him. Will they give the backing to this, or are they going to say, well, it is just an interim thing? Or they'll be asked the question you've asked me, Dave, is it an interim appointment?
Yeah, I mean, obviously if he does very well, maybe he might. For me, I think it's twofold. So if it is a case of Lee Carsley, now remember, he after the March games, and my thinking is, my theory, I have no inside information. I'm kind of looking at this and it's guesswork. And let's be honest, nobody has a clue. Nobody has a clue. And to be fair, we've been kind of, we were right. We said about the Coleman thing. No, I don't think he's going to get it. This is a kite they're flying. And that was shot down. The stories were coming out about his personal life, and all of a sudden they go away because he goes away. Neil Lennon as well. Personal life stories come in. He goes away. They go away because he goes away. And they were kind of flying kites. They were sort of just, maybe we don't get Carsley. And this is all conjecture. We don't know. We have no inside information. Although some of the stuff Dan McDonald was talking about in that article, we'd actually heard about people, with the wrong surname and all. It's actually quite a good read in the Independent. But I think it's twofold. I think it's a case of, right, Lee Carsley, he's our man. We just need to, dot the I's, cross the T's. But he also wants to, finish up diligently with the FA, and then, they'll have till September to find a coach and everything's grand. Or it's a case of this, they don't quite know, and maybe they might have. I think there's another two names that we discussed, didn't we, off air? There could be a case of, let's see how John O'Shea goes, because the public would accept him. I think they would if he does well in March, because maybe they don't have a plan. Maybe that is plan B. They don't have one because plan A isn't, which is Carsley, isn't coming in. And then it could be a case of two managers that might become available very soon. One is Gus Poyet, because he's got his playoffs in March for Greece, and he's already like that with the Greek FA. And another target apparently was Anthony Barry. Now, Anthony Barry will be available in May. So they could do a Trapattoni thing, couldn't they? They could turn around and say, sorry, I've got a noisy rabbit in the background. Yeah, she's not too happy about it. No, it is actually a rabbit. But, it could be a case of what they did with Trapattoni, where when he was the manager of Red Bull, and basically said, yeah, he's leaving us at the end of the season, and then he's gone with Ireland. And they might just do that as well with Anthony Barry. We don't know, really, do we?
We don't know. What if this is plan A, Dave? John O'Shea to come in and be given 2 games without having the pressure of you're actually going to be you're our main number 1 target, but we're actually giving you 2 trial games. This could be it. We don't know. Imagine how shrewd it would be, the FAI, and clever. That, what if it was?
No,
What if
it's
it
not
is
clever.
plan A? Do you not
It
think it's
wouldn't.
plan A?
No,
Could it be plan A?
no.
Like I know, like so
Plan A was
Carsley, I know, has
Carsley.
been muted as round. I think the Carsley thing's a key thing to consider. I think it's very shrewd of the FAI if I think if they've been messing around with negotiations and it's about money.
No, it's a happy accident. No,
but I think if it was about money and stuff, and he won't commit, and he's thinking, actually, look, I don't need to be in here now for these 2 games. Lee Carsley, like, it doesn't need to be. I'm going to buy myself time. I'm going to be honourable with the FA, and then then we'll sit down again and see what way. Look, there you go.
No, it's only shrewd, and it look with the FAI, right? If they come out with Carsley at the end of this, if they announce Carsley at the beginning of April, then it's shrewd. If they come out and actually say, "Oh, by the way, we're doing an Eileen Gleeson," and actually he did say that, didn't he, Callum? He said we're going down an Eileen Gleeson route, and he do an Eileen Gleeson and go, "Do you know what? Actually, the interim manager is now becoming a manager because he's done. I hope, yeah." And if they do that, and John O'Shea is now the manager, there's no we knew all along. And if they try that with the press, they will get torn apart because everybody knows that it will be complete nonsense. And that would just be a happy accident. And if John O'Shea turns out to be the greatest Irish manager of all time, you cannot turn around and say, that's very true with the FAI. No, it was a complete happy accident.
Yeah,
Jack Carlin was a happy accident.
Yeah, exactly. So I was going to say that, yeah. Jack
Yeah,
wasn't the first choice, and people probably need to know that and listen to our episodes on that when we spoke about it before.
Jack Charlton got in because of spite.
Yeah.
Owen Hand got
things. Brilliant.
Yeah. And Owen Hand got in because Paddy Mulligan was accused of hitting an FAI with a sticky gun. So he got 1 vote. That person's vote went to Owen Hand. Said, hey, just how hard.
But it could be the perfect storm for John O'Shea. That's what I'm saying. These things of like, Carsley could live to regret that decision if he was offered it and he's turned it down. It could happen. You just don't know. Like they could be so set on putting this pathway in place. Even you think about the women's team, putting in Eileen Gleeson and stepping her down in a sense to be the manager of the team.
It hasn't gone too well in the last
away
game.
from their, well, it went away from their ideal, I suppose, but they're so set on that ideal that it's a massive risk. And that's what I've said about Mark Cannon putting that in place. Like we're throwing our kind of all our hopes and dreams on this guy's vision in a sense. Eileen Gleeson stepping there, that's not a big name, and yet really the profile of the Irish women's team was higher than ever. So after that World Cup, and it didn't end well with Vera, but like then you could probably attract a big name, and he hasn't done that with bringing Eileen Gleeson in. So at the same time, maybe he's not afraid of not having that experienced manager coming in for the men's team. Maybe he's just thinking this guy's been with the under-21s. He knows how we're trying to do it at the FAI. He'll play the game commercially. He'll attract sponsors. He'll attract interest, because I know you'll say this is extreme bias, Dave, when I say this, but when you say, well, you can see it. If you look up John O'Shea today, it's former Man United player appointed as Ireland.
I'm sorry, no.
Man United do bring the name to it as well, and a bit of credibility.
Nah, I'm sorry, but if he's unveiled as the Ireland manager, even if he does brilliantly in the next 2 games, it'll be 2 games. And even if it does terribly in the 2 games, it's still just 2 games. Either way, you know how the Irish fans are. Does brilliantly. Give him what he wants. No, Rio Ferdinand, all he's on the bus.
That's my only thing. That's where.
And if he loses, it's like, what did you expect? Like he's rubbish. Stephen Kenny, blame Stephen Kenny. If they turn around and unveil him as the permanent manager in April, I'm sorry, questions will be asked. I think, well, why didn't Carsley want it?
But then like the question, why doesn't Carsley want it? He's probably waiting himself. He could be waiting until June. Like they've probably given an ultimatum now. If they want Carsley, they've said, right, okay, go off and do your stuff with the FA. But we're not waiting for you for June, because when you all want to see if Southgate's finished up with.
I think it will be Carsley. I think you think it will be Carsley too. But no, if they announced John O'Shea, look, I wouldn't be totally mad at it, but I don't want to hear like some master plan for the FAI. It's not. It's a massive punt. But then, you'll have somebody like, then people say to me, well, why would you? I'd have Anthony Barry over John O'Shea. People say, well, why would you? Because he's worked, look where he's worked. And you saw the improvements when
I wouldn't.
I would. When you saw him, when he came into the Irish team, right? Here's the difference. When Anthony Barry came into the Irish team, right? You saw us improve immensely. That's coaching, Martin. You didn't see any improvement under Stephen Kenny with John O'Shea.
Yeah, but I seriously, I'll give you the benefit of that one. But I think though that I just don't think he was.
Can't fucking argue it, can you?
No,
that's true though. But that's
I
coaching.
don't think he was given that level of responsibility in a sense, and maybe that wasn't him being pushy enough to do that.
No, he was replacement though, wasn't he? Because it was
he replaced John Eustace, yeah, and Barry, I suppose, as well. But if you coming in as a set piece person, and then all of a sudden you start scoring set pieces, it looks fabulous, and even
but that's coaching. But that's
I know that.
And when he left, the arse fell out of the Irish team. I think you always have a bit of muscle memory with a team when a manager goes for a few months, and then it kind of just evaporated. But that's why I would have Barry over O'Shea. There's still 2 punts. I said punts, by the way. There's still 2 punts. No matter what way you look at it, and I think the FAI will have to take a punt. Carsley will be a punt because money, the standing of the team, and the FAI's reputation. Obviously, just a final point on this before we wrap it up, Martin. I think one thing we can agree on is that no matter who is the Ireland manager, who's unveiled, if it's not O'Shea now, I think they're looking at it. The manager after the next person that comes in will be O'Shea. I think that's the long game, isn't it? Which is sensible, by the way.
I think they want him involved, whatever way it is, and then this pathway is a key thing. I mean, another one who I've seen speculated is like Chris Hughton, that technically coming back from the AFCON, he probably needed a break, that he wasn't interested at this time.
Maybe
again,
give him a bit of time.
Question, give him a bit of time, reflect. Does he come in as the kind of senior man? And then you have the coaches there. I think it's going to be key seeing who else John O'Shea appoints as his backroom staff.
If they brought in Chris Hughton with John O'Shea as the man to take over from Chris Hughton, it wouldn't excite me. But you know what? I'd look at that and go, that actually makes sense. Honestly, God, I would look at that and go, that makes sense. It'd be like the Bobby Robson thing, but completely in reverse. Bobby Robson, Steve Staunton. But it would be Chris Hughton saying, right, I'm going to be in charge of this for about 2 years. You are going to take over from me. You are going to learn from me. You're going to learn how to deal with the media. You got all this kind of, I'm going to pass you on. And we're going to play, hopefully play a better style of football than Chris Hughton's previously played. That would make sense to me, but I don't know. I just don't know. But I do think John O'Shea will be the manager after.
If they do want John O'Shea, though, so kind of determined to have him involved in it, they must have said to all the candidates who were the manager choice that they want John O'Shea part of it because he's come through the pathway, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, which
they must
I
have
agree
said
with
that as well. And then it is, like I said, a free swing for John O'Shea to kind of go, well, I've come in just to kind of tie things over.
Get battered.
Yeah, and again, any coach, though, in his worth his kind of salt can come in and control the game and
do you remember
set yourself up correctly.
Do you remember when Noel King came in? What was it, in 2013, was it?
Yeah,
after
Cologne,
Trap. And he completely, like, the game in Germany and then the game in I think it was the 3-0 over Kazakhstan. And he just showed why he wasn't up to the job, fighting with the meat already. Like, people say,
big row, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only 2 games, and he caused a massive row after 2 games. It was quite a thing, and he completely ruled himself out of the job. John O'Shea won't do anything like that. I'm sure he's a bit more sensible than that. But anyway, we're going to leave it there, Martin. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching. We will be live this Sunday, 9:30. We're back to our usual slot, 9:30. So maybe get your reaction. I'm sure this story will unravel, I suppose. We're going to find out a little bit more. We're going to see who John O'Shea's backroom staff is. So we're going to have another conversation about this on Sunday. So do join us there and have your say, because, we are the voice of the fans, Martin, aren't we?
Yes, we are, Dave.
We are. We absolutely are. And we let you have your say. So get involved. As always, if you like what you hear and you love what you see, hit that subscribe button. Scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. But more importantly, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to grow the YouTube channel. I'm David Dunn. He's Martin Prendergast, and we're out of here. Good night. God bless.